Live from the virtual Daytona International Speedway in beautiful Daytona Beach, Florida. Welcome, sim racing fans, to the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Qualifiers, live on Apex Racing TV. I'm your host, Joshua Lee. Joined with me is Peter Mackey, and down in the production booth is Mark Tranter. Peter, I want to give you a welcome to the IRX World Championship Qualifiers. We're glad you're here for the finale. What do you think so far, taking a look at qualifying?
Well, it's an absolute pleasure to be here. I mean, Rallycross, one of the most exciting forms of motorsport anywhere in the world. And if that isn't good enough, we're here at the World Centre of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. I feel truly privileged to be here, especially with a quality of field that we have here. This is obviously the very best Rallycross drivers on the iRacing service. And yeah, looking at the pace in qualifying, it's going to be some great action tonight for sure.
And qualifying is roughly a minute to 2 minutes down. Tony Latamaki sitting on top right now. You're taking a look at the one machine of Garrett Mains come across the start-finish line. Fairly slow time for Mains, 39.372. We'll see if he can improve here on his second lap. But this is the finale round of this series. The top 14 after this week will be considered for a spot in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship. And right now, on that bubble is Tani Latamaki, Jonathan Pilar, and Mika Happinen. They are 13th, 14th, and 15th, all separated by roughly around 20 points. So grabbing as many points as they can, especially in these strength of field races, is going to be crucial if they want a spot in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship. And you're taking a look at Jake Robertson right now as he works through the dirt section. We're on the long configuration here at the Daytona International Speedway. So the dirt section over there past the jump, and then another dirt section taking a little bit of a part of the front straightaway here at Daytona, and then this long sweeping S through the asphalt all the way down to either the Joker lane or the final turn. And that Joker lane will get you about 1.7 seconds towards your time. So that is a great opportunity for passing earlier on or late in the race. We have seen all season when you take that Joker is a huge part of the strategy, as Jake Robertson hops up to the top of the board, 38.970.
Yeah, Jake Robertson looked very, very confident there at the wheel of his Ford Fiesta, keeping it nice and tidy. And of course, at Rallycross, very, very easy to do big, big angles, big, big skids. But although that might win you the most fans, that will not get you the winner's trophy. You'll see the best drivers keeping that car in a straight line, get that power down. These cars have massive horsepower, nearly 600 horsepower. And yeah, you want to be able to get the car driving, minimize the wheel spin, and you'll see the drivers not inducing that big an angle compared to normal.
Robertson still holds that top spot. We'll see if Vicente Salas can improve on his time. He cannot. 39.141 is the current time he has up. He just might have taken the green flag on another lap. We'll see what happens next time he comes across the start-finish line or not, because qualifying is over. Everybody except Bo Albert putting down a time here in qualifying, as Jake Robertson will sit on the pole for heat number 1, with Tani Latamaki on the pole for heat 2. Tuominen, Delalmo, Makinen, Salas, Happinen, Matrani, Mains, Pilar. Jonathan Pilar rounds out your top 10. His brother Fabian Pilar in 11th and Bo Albert in 12th. Watch out for those Pilars. They are two real-life rallycross drivers and both brothers, so you know they're both going to be extremely fast here at Daytona. Robinson on the pole for heat 1, Rasmus Tuominen, Tommy Makinen, Mika Happinen, Garrett Mains, and Fabian Pilar rounds out your 6-car field for heat number 1. We'll have 2 heat races, both about 5 laps each. Then we'll have a consolation for the 2 drivers in each heat that finish 5th and 6th, who do not automatically qualify for the feature. Then those 2 from the consolation, the top 2 finishers, will move on to the feature to give us a 10-car, 10-lap feature race to close out the season here in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Qualifiers here on Apex Racing TV. We're glad you've joined us week in and week out for this series. It has been extremely fun to call it each week here for you on Apex Racing TV. And we're going to close it out, and this is going to be an exciting finale race for the qualifier series and a great jump start to the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series starting in just a couple weeks' time. as everybody gets to the grid. 27 seconds left to grid up. If we'd known anything about these Rallycross drivers, they love to grid up late. There goes 2 of them, just waiting on 2 more. 5 now, ready to go. Engines on, spooling up. There's number 6. You're going to see those red lights. Come on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. Green's out. Away we go. Heat 1 is green at Daytona. 3 wide. Heading down into turn number 1. Robertson on the inside. Trying to make something happen. In the middle is Tuominen. All the way on the outside. The number 5 VW Beetle. But Robertson with a great jump. He's going to lead heading to the jump.
Brilliant launch from Jake Robertson in the Ford Fiesta for Apex Racing Team. Oh, we've got one of the Beetles off at the back there. Oh, dearie me. As we head into the dirt section now, desperately running in flying formation here as we head down towards the end of the lap already. But Jake Robertson holding off the field so far and converting on that fast qualifying space. And oh no, that's number 5, Tommy Mäkinen, getting turned around there, but he just about hangs on to it.
Mika Happinen got turned around going over the jump. You can see that Black Star Racing VW Beetle all the way in the back. Anybody coming down the Joker lane? Yes, that number 5 machine's going to come down. Tommy Mäkinen gonna Joker. He's going to grab 2 positions easily. And I believe he's the only car to have taken the Joker so far, so he is just a sitting duck for everybody else behind him, especially Garrett Mains in that Smithfield VW Beetle. He has been fast every week, and he's going for a pass on Fabian Pilar. Gets it as Pilar is slow.
I wonder what's happened to Fabian Pilar there. It didn't look like a slowdown penalty or anything like that. He ground to nearly a halt, so I wonder if he's had a technical issue at his rig. But we can see just at the back of shot there, his Subaru Impreza's got going again. But at the front, Jake Robertson, number 6 for Apex Racing Team in that sole Ford Fiesta in this heat. And he is absolutely off like a shot. Over the jump we go then. Big air in the Ford Fiesta. Fantastic with the Beetle of Tuominen right behind.
4 main cars in this race right now. Main sitting on that bubble spot for getting into the feature. Fabian Pilar, Mika Happinen right now sitting 5th and 6th. They will be heading to the consolation as they are scored right now, but still 3 laps to go. Still 3 more opportunities to take that Joker lane, and that could help you immensely, especially here at Daytona as they head through the S's. Tuominen trying to catch Jake Robertson. Nobody else electing to take the Joker just yet. Everybody going around that wide sweeping international corner as they take another lap. 2 laps to go in Heat 1.
Look at the line Tuominen taking every last inch he can on the curbs and really putting the pressure now on Jake Robertson. He's just that little bit closer now. Oh, he's just waiting for the power there on his VW Beetle. Really tight-handed here. Little tweak at the handbrake and then back on the power, up the gearbox and using all that nearly 600 horsepower in this VW Beetle. 630 newton-meters of torque at his disposal. Will he take the Joker? It looks like he might. He does. Rasmus Tuominen takes the Joker, so Jake Robertson will have to tuck in behind, but he now has that Joker up his sleeve.
White flag, last lap here in Heat 1. Tuominen leading the way now, but Robertson sitting right behind. Remember that Joker time, 1.7 seconds you gain on the car in front of you, and that means that right now, Jake Robertson in perfect spot for a pass. Rasmus Tuominen needs to do whatever he can to get that gap as wide as possible as they come out of the dirt section back into the asphalt S's. You can see them using the grass there to cut just inches off of their time as Jake Robertson hops into the Joker lane for the final time. Robertson gonna grab the win in Heat 1. Tuominen gonna come home P2, and Mains makes a pass. No, he doesn't. Mains went down the Joker lane same time as Mäkinen, so Mäkinen grabs P3, Mains in P4 with Fabian Pilar and Mika Happinen 5th and 6th. What an exciting heat to get started here tonight in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Qualifiers. Robertson takes the win, Tuominen right behind, then Mäkinen and Mains round out the 4 cars. That will start in the feature. Then Fabian Pilar and Mika Happinen gonna have to race their way out of the consolation. But Peter, we just got 1 heat down. We have another to go.
Just had to catch my breath now. That was some great action, and I think Tommy Mäkinen, he certainly profited the most from Joker lap strategy there. He looked like he might have dropped off the podium, but he didn't. Brilliant drive there from Tommy Mäkinen. But what can we say about Jake Robertson for Apex Racing Team? Great performance from him.
Tani Watamaki will start on the pole here in Heat 2. Killian Delalmo in P2. Vicente Salas, Danny Matrani, Jonathan Pilar, and Bo Albert round out the 6 cars here in this heat. The lights come on and they're going to go out, and we will be green flag racing. Heat 2 is underway at Daytona. 3 wide once again, heading into 1. That Black Star Racing Subaru with a great jump on the inside. Lotte Maki looking for the lead. Behind it's Garrett Mains, Vicente Salas in the 2, but contact between DeLamo and Lotte Maki. Huge pile up in the dirt section.
Oh dear, that's taken out most of the field, and look at that, just at the wrong space. They're just all down the side of the jump there, and brilliant for Jonathan Pilar, the Frenchman, in his Subaru WRX STI. Round they go then. He got a good launch off the start. He's up to 2nd place, and DeLamo, it's a French 1-2 here in the iRacing Rallycross Series. Fantastic stuff. Would this be a time to take a joker, do you think, Josh?
I think it might be, especially if you want to get a jump with all those damaged cars behind you. You want as big of a gap as you can so you can hopefully run away. But nobody coming down the joker lane that time by. The joker's still unused here in this heat as we go to lap 2. But right now, the battle for the transfer spot is back in 4th with Danny Matrani and Tani Lotte Maki. You can see how close they are together. Lotte Maki can make a run at a possible feature appearance without having to go through the consolation, but he's going to need to get by that VW Beetle in front of him. Will he be able to do it? We've seen all year Danny Matrani has been extremely fast, but so has Lotte Maki in that Subaru. They are going to be sparring with 3 to go once they come across the line.
Yeah, Tony Lotte Maki is going to need all that horsepower from that 4-cylinder boxer engine at the wheel of the Subaru. Of course, a brand so synonymous with off-road racing. Of course, Travis Pastrana racing in that particular car. But the Beetle of Danny Matrani, the Spaniard, off he goes over the jump. Big air there. And this little Beetle has got a slightly shorter wheelbase, so maybe just a little bit more maneuverable than the Subaru. So through the twisty stuff, expect Danny Matrani to be a little bit quicker, and there's that horrible little kicker there as well. But both of these cars carrying damage. It'll be interesting to see how those cars are handled.
And with time running out, you got to get as much track position right now as you can. There's number 10 of Killian Delalmo. First time, I believe, we've seen him all season here on Apex Racing TV. He leads the way in his G2 Esports VW Beetle. Jonathan Pilar sits in 2nd, and he is one of those drivers towards the bubble of getting into the top 14 and having a spot in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series, or a planned spot, I should say, after iRacing's review that determines if you get in or not. That's Set Esports VW Beetle leading the way by a good margin. Pilar not able to take the joker and grab the lead. His delta time is not short enough, but white flag. We're going to see what happens this time.
Yep, this is now Killian Delalmo's race to lose now, looking very strong in this VW Beetle, and this is going to get not only a promotion through to the feature race, but a good grid spot as well, which, as you mentioned, Josh, the track position here, absolutely vital. The overtaking opportunities are tricky, and really it's all about that joker lap.
Well, here we go. They're going to come across this time by. They're going to hop down the joker lane if they have not taken it already. There goes Delalmo. And Salas not able to make anything happen on Pilar. Pilar not able to make anything happen on Delalmo. So Killian Delalmo grabs the win in Heat 2. Jonathan Pilar 2nd. Vicente Salas in 3rd. Coming home 4th right now is Danny Matrani, as Tani Lotte Maki not going to be able to do anything. So Tani Lotte Maki will head to the consolation along with Bo Albert, who finishes 4 laps down. So this consolation race is full of some very great drivers. And I would like to also point out, filled with 2 Black Star Racing drivers in Mika Happinen and Tani Lotte Maki. But there's your Heat 2 results on your screen. Delalmo, Pilar, Salas, Matrani will head into the feature race with Lotte Maki and Albert having a race out of the consolation. And Peter, this consolation race is so important. Only 2 drivers can make it into the feature. You really got to be up front quick.
Yeah, this is now or never then, and for Bo Albert, he'll be surely pretty angry after that unfortunate end to that first heat race there for him. Just it looked like he got caught up at the back of that incident, so hopefully try to be able to keep the nose clean in that VW Beetle and get it through to the feature race.
So two Black Star Racing drivers, Mika Happinen, Laden Maki, both fighting for a spot in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series. There's the green light. We know both of those Black Star drivers want to get into the feature, but right on the inside, that's Pilar. He gets turned, and Laden Maki turns him into his teammate. Happinen with damage from that wrecking Subaru in front of him. Now that Subaru of Pilar's not going to be an issue, but now Happinen needs to hope he doesn't have enough damage so he can race for P2. Bo Albert looking for the lead, a slight tap to the Subaru in front.
Yeah, Bo Albert, the Antipodean ace here, just pressuring Laden Maki in the Subaru. Whoa! Oh my word. Happinen takes a big look in his Beetle, but where's he gone? Where's he gone? I think he's maybe made... Yes, he's had problems. Oh, interesting stuff. So for Bo Albert, this is an absolute dream for him in his VW Beetle. So he's got now nearly 4.5 seconds of gap, and in this form of racing, that is an absolute age.
So Bo Albert sitting in such a perfect spot right now. He doesn't even need to battle for the lead, but if we know Bo Albert, he's still gonna do it. Going around the outside, the VW Beetle, that 3 machine of Bo Albert looking for the lead, but not able to get it done. To his outside, to his inside was the 7 of Tani Laden Maki. Grabs the lead back, but that 3 machine wants another shot at it. He has still 4 more laps to do it when they come across the start-finish line. This is a great 2-horse battle up here for the win in the consolation.
Oh, Bo Albert just showing the nose. He might tuck up the inside here. He does. Laden Maki goes wide, and Bo Albert takes the lead in the VW Beetle. Through they go then, through the flip-flop, over the jump. Nice and straight. That's what you want to do. Bo Albert for Logitech Esports doing a great job here. Wow, amazing stuff here in the iRacing Rallycross Series. But Laden Maki is not done. Although these guys have both got their spot in the feature, they want the best grid spot they possibly can.
And they want bragging rights over each other as well. Absolutely. You grab the win in the consolation. You are talked about for a little bit, especially same thing with Heat 1, Heat 2, and of course the feature as Albert drops into the Joker lane. He is going to take his Joker now mid-race. So Laden Maki is the only driver now left who has not taken his Joker, but he needs to keep that gap between him and Bo Albert to less than 1.7 seconds if he wants a spot, or if he wants the win coming off of the Joker lane. Right now it's sitting just about 1.7 down to 1.8, almost 2 seconds going through this final dirt section. So Laden Maki needs to be perfect if he wants to keep the gap in the sweet spot to getting the win in the Joker lane. He's going to have 2 laps to do it this time.
Yeah, of course, not only taking the Joker at the right point, but also getting that, just being absolutely perfect through the Joker as well. Riding on board of the Subaru of Tony Laden Maki. Listen to that boxer engine rumble. Over the jump he goes. Huge air as well, and a little dab at the handbrake, get the car turning. The Subaru's got a slightly longer wheelbase than the VW, so maybe a little bit lazier perhaps, but maybe a little bit more stable at the same time. Laden Maki, this is going to come right down to the wire now. Oh, it's going to be so close, 1.5 seconds the gap right now, Josh. It's going to be really, really tight when he does take a Joker lap.
Will he take it this time? By no, so he's going to save it for the last lap. That means that this lap for Laden Maki needs to be his best lap of the entire consolation race. So the final lap, Laden Maki needs that gap under 1.7 seconds. Right now it's sitting just hovering over it. He is not able to make up any time, but he's also not losing much time either. 1.3 seconds, now 1.4, the gap between the Black Star Racing Subaru and that Logitech Esports driver of Bo Albert. Here they come through the S's. Laden Maki needs to take the Joker this time. Where will he come out? To the inside goes Laden Maki. Outside Bo Albert, and he grabs the win. The 7 of Tani Laden Maki wins the consolation. Bo Albert in second, and unfortunately missing out on the feature is Bobby and Pilar and Mika Happinen, and that is heartbreak for Happinen as he sits right on the outside looking in at the top 14. And I think he might just be spelling his end to his qualifier season right here.
Oh, look at that. He's got a horrible broken suspension, has Mika Happinen, and he's trying to waddle his VW Beetle over the line. You've got to love that tenacity, not giving up, getting it over the line. Big points to Mika Happinen for that, getting the car over the line, getting the finish in. But Wow, what a thriller that was, Josh.
An intense battle between those top two for the win in the consolation, but Latimaki came out on top from Bo Albert. Then Fabian Pilar and Mika Happinen, unfortunately, will be logging off and heading home as we get ready for the feature race. Robertson will lead the field down into turn number 1. Killian Delalmo and Rasmus Tuominen beside him, with Jonathan Pilar, Tommy Makinen, and Vincente Salas making up the second row. And then Garrett Mains, Danny Matrani, Tani Latimaki, and Bo Albert rounding out this 10-car feature grid. We get ready to go racing. The final feature race of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Qualifiers here on Apex Racing TV. We thank you for 13 weeks of action, as it is time to go green in the final feature race of the season. Let's go racing from Daytona. The Set Esports VW Beetles get a great start. Out in front, it's Tuominen to the inside. Robertson all the way on the outside. That's Vincente Salas in the 2. They go side by side through the dirt, and Jake Robertson able to get a great start.
Rasmus Tuominen goes off the side of the jump. He just about hangs on to it, but I think he's got damage. He looks like he's going slow. Oh, Albert gets turned around then as well, and he just goes into the wall. He'll have damage as well. These are fragile little cars, but Jake Robertson, I tell you what, Josh, that little Fiesta of Jake Robertson, it just turns on its axis. You just saw that into the opening hairpin. He was just able to turn it tighter than the other driver.
We have seen Robertson all year. He takes the Joker lane early. Robertson hasn't had the best luck here in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Qualifiers, but right now, he has the best luck out of anybody, as Robertson and Mains came down the Joker lane that time by Pilar, Salas, Delalmo, the 3 behind the 2 machine of, or the 1 machine of Garrett Mains. They have not taken the Joker yet. As a matter of fact, nobody else in the entire race has taken the Joker yet. So the top 2 have come down for their Joker, but remember that delta time, 1.7 seconds, which means that pretty much everybody currently sitting behind Garrett Mains has a chance to pass him if they come down the Joker lane this time. The question is, will they come down the Joker lane? One person does. That's the 11 of Jonathan Pilar. He's going to hop up to P2.
Yeah, it's a really interesting strategy, especially if you're in the groups. Do you want to be running in the group? Do you want a little bit of fresh air to really open up? You don't want to be getting bashed about as Pilar in the Subaru Impreza, the leading Subaru Impreza, desperately trying to catch up to Robertson, knowing that he's got to close that gap down and try and put some pressure on the Apex Racing Team driver. But Jake Robertson is absolutely on a tear right now.
Robertson continues to pull away. Nobody even holding a candle to him right now as Pilar and Mains go around the outside. There's Mains' teammate, Vicente Salas, taking the Joker lane, and he's going to pull out just inches in front of the 11 of Jonathan Pilar. If you're on board with Killian Delalmo, he has taken his Joker lap. So the remaining 5 drivers that have not taken their Joker lap are 6 through 10. Makinen, Latimaki, Tuominen, Albert, and Matrani. Everybody else has taken their Joker. They're all racing for position. Teammates get into each other. The 1 into the 2. Mains gives contact to his teammate, Vicente Salas. Those 2 Allianz Sauber Esports drivers making a little contact going through the turn.
Yeah, that wouldn't have gone down very well. Just tried to stick the nose of the VW Beetle up the inside there, did Garrett Mains, but wasn't quite enough room. And look at this, Tommy Makinen in the blue and black VW Beetles everywhere. We know that this is one of the greatest selling cars of all time in road trim, but they're everywhere here in the iRacing Rallycross series. But they're chasing down the Subaru of Pilar right now. But it's Jake Robertson in the Ford Fiesta out front now, 3.6 seconds ahead. And Josh, you got to think that that call to take that Joker early has been inspired.
It has, and the only Ford Fiesta in the field is the one winning the race right now, with Jake Robertson, of course, representing Apex Racing Team. And he is pulling away right now here in the final feature race of the season for the IRX World Championship Qualifiers, as we have a lot of cars in a battle in the mid-pack. But there goes Rasmus Tuominen, a little bit of an issue going over the turtle curves. He gets held up. Now he's going to be all the way down in 9th.
Oh, and a big punt. Oh, a big punt. I think that's Tuominen. Oh, it's caught. It's caught Matrani, I think, as well. Bo Albert gets through. Rasmus Tuominen taking out Danny Matrani there. And oh, it's all going on here. in the iRacing Rallycross Series, but Bo Albert just escaping there. He moves up to 8th place. He's not taking the Joker yet either, so he might move up one more as well. Jake Robertson now in a 4-second advantage, so he is cruising 3.5 laps to go.
And all Robertson needs to do is put together 3 great laps, and he will have this win. See those two Elliott Sadler Esports drivers coming into this final third section, still battling each other very close together. We've seen Mains and Salas up front all year long, and right now we're getting a great show in the final feature race of the season for us here on Apex Racing TV. Battling together as to the inside goes the Set Esports driver of Killian Delalmo. Not able to do anything there as Laden Maki sits behind and watches this all happen. He is looking for any position he can, because remember, he's sitting 13th in the points right now. He wants as much cushion over 14th as he can possibly get, and 14th right now is sitting in 2nd place.
Well, Latin Maki, this would be a good time to take his Joker. It's getting busy. There you go. There's your answer. Look at that. He barges by. Perfect time now. Will Tony Latin Maki take his Joker? He should do. Get that 1.7 second advantage. Oh, he doesn't, but that's why he's a driver and I'm a commentator. Let's see. He just about holds off. He's still got that Joker up his sleeve. So in typical relaxed finish style, he's just holding it to the very last moment.
The car that was around in the dirt section was Vicente Salas. He goes down to P8, battling now with Danny Matrani as Robertson continues to lead the way. You're taking a look at the battle between Mains and Pylar right now through the Joker. Sorry, through the dirt section. Who will come down the Joker lane with 2 to go? Only 3 drivers remain who have not taken the Joker. Laden Maki, Albert, and to Aminin. There goes Laden Maki down into the Joker lane. Where will he come out? And he is going, I don't believe he improved on any positions. He is scored in P4. Now only one spot, only one spot in between him and Pylar right now. So Pylar only getting 1 more point than Laden Maki would be achieving. But here's Jake Robertson on the white flag lap, getting ready to take the checkered. It has been bad luck for him all year long here on Apex Racing TV, but representing Apex Racing Team, Jake Robertson goes to victory lane in the final feature race of the iRacing World Championship Qualifiers.
Garrett Mains comes in 2nd place as well for Elliott Sadler Esports. Hilaire in 3rd. Bo Albert gets up to 4th place. A late race charge from him. And Tuominen in 5th. And we lost Suomi Mäkinen as well as Jake Robertson. Well, these cars have a lot of horsepower. And get the handbrake on and do some big fat donuts. Great stuff there from Jake Robertson for Apex Racing Team. And we've got synchronized drifting here. Very nice indeed.
Celebrating with him is the number 1 of Garrett Mains. These guys have been racing together all year long. They love to see each other succeed, and you're seeing it right now. These synchronized donuts to send off this series. Mains will be one of those drivers in the World Championship. He sits P2 in the points right now. And Jake Robertson, he sits 6th. We can also expect him in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series, and that starts on September 26th. Here's the feature race results. Robertson grabbing the win. Garrett Mains in 2nd. Jonathan Pylar in 3rd. Bo Albert 4th. Erasmus Tuominen in 5th. Tony Laden Maki 6th. Killian Delalmo in 7th. Danny Matrani in 8th. Vicente Salas in 9th. And Tommy Mäkinen rounds out your top 10. Peter, what a race here from the World Center of Racing.
Oh, that was very special indeed. I mean, Rallycross never fails to disappoint for entertainment. And I have to say, I'm just in awe of the skill of these drivers. They make it look very easy. And I say this a lot, you know, if you're watching this for the first time, I mean, you can. The great thing is about watching sim racing is you can go on your own iRacing account, have a go in these cars on this circuit, and you'll just see just how impressive these guys are, racing wheel to wheel. But Jake Robertson, he really was the standout driver tonight. He did not look like anyone was going to touch him all night long.
Well, we do have post-race interviews ready to go. Jake Robertson now joining us here in the booth. The bad luck spell is over. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you. I think it's about time I had some luck in the broadcasted races. It's made me so happy, man. I've actually got some luck in one of these.
And you dominated from qualifying all the way through to the checkered flag of the feature race. Was your car just handling really well, or do you think you have a handle on this circuit going into the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series?
Me, Jonathan Paya, and my brother John Robertson, we've done quite a lot of practice this week because we wanted Jonathan to get a lot of points so he could make it in. He did exactly that, and I think the amount of practice that we put in was why I did so well today.
And it was an intense battle, but you took the Joker lane early on to try and get away from all the midfield battles. Was that your strategy going into the feature race, to get the Joker lane out early and just ride laps for the remaining laps?
Well, that's the ideal situation. I saw Vicente behind me. I think it was 1.7 seconds behind me on when I was going into the Joker. So I really didn't want to not take the Joker and then merge with him, because that would have cost me a lot of time, and I think I would have been in the battles with the guys behind me for the entire race. But no, the Joker strategy worked really well because no one joked behind me, and I could just focus on my own laps, my own race, and drive away.
Anyone else you'd like to thank?
Yeah, Jonathan Paya for practicing so much this week. I'm hoping he got a good enough result for to qualify for the World Championship. Also, SDK, Simputers, and Apex Racing Academy.
Thank you very much, Jake Robertson, your winner of the feature race here in the IRX World Championship qualifiers. And Peter, you're now standing by with P2 finisher Garrett Mains.
Garrett Mains, what a drive there. As frantic as always here in the iRacing Rallycross series. Tell us about your night at Daytona International Speedway.
Yeah, after the not so good start for me in the heat, I decided to sandbag for fourth because I knew that was the safest starting position for the feature, and it proved to be correct. I got a really clean start there, didn't touch nobody, got up 2 spots right off the jump, and then picked off 3 on the Joker. And if I had just been able to get a little bit more pace out of my Joker lap, I would have probably cleared all 3 of them. But once Jonathan got back out in front of me, it had the same effect where everybody got back by me, just because I had to check up for Jonathan. He had to check up for me, so when I had to check up for him, I lost everything that I'd gained in the whole ordeal. But I just kind of sat there and waited. I knew Jake was really fast. I didn't think I'd catch him, so I knew that was his race to lose, if anything. But overall, waited, battled it out, and once the track got really worn in there, we picked up the pace and got up to P2.
Certainly did. And of course, here in the iRacing Rallycross series, you've got a choice of the VW Beetle, the Subaru Impreza, and also the Ford Fiesta. Tell us about your choice. You chose the VW Beetle. Is your choice of car track dependent on how it handles, or why did you choose the Beetle over the other cars?
Now, I actually kind of regret choosing the Beetle this week. It's hard to say. Like, I have so much more experience here in the Ford. I have a hard time with the Beetle through a lot of the dirt sections and just pretty much all the way around the track. Just doesn't feel right to me. But I'm kind of leaning towards it for the World Championship, so I'm trying to get a strong setup for the car. I'm still like really on the fence as to where I want to go because every car has a strong track. There's major advantages to each car. Some of them kind of feel like they outweigh others, but I mean, at the end of the day, race pace matters the most, and it's just hard to say which one fits my style the best right now.
I see. Interesting insight. And while you're live here on Apex Racing TV, Garrett, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to? Now we're at the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely got to give a shout out to Smithfield. Thank them for sponsoring, and 101 CBD, Sim Seats, Strickland Hardy, all the guys at Elliott Sadler Esports, Vicente for helped me out in this series a lot. Learned a lot from racing with him, and vice versa. I know we've been a really good team this season, and got to thank everybody at Richmond Raceway as well for their support.
Well, Garrett, thank you very much for coming to join us up in the commentary box. All the best of luck for the iRacing World Championship, and we'll speak to you very soon on Apex Racing TV.
Well, Garrett Mains with a great effort tonight here in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Qualifiers. We've got one more driver interview. Then we will have Chris Leone, iRacing Marketing and Communications Manager and one of the directors of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series, joining us shortly after. But first, Rasmus Tuominen, a great season from you. P5 finish here in Daytona. Awesome job.
Yeah, thank you. It was a pretty messy one, especially the feature race.
And you did struggle through that feature race. What was that main struggle for you fighting in the midfield? Because we saw a lot of drivers fairly close together. Was it trying to get the passes done that really struggled to get you the track position?
The first struggle was, or not a struggle, but I got a very good start. Got ahead of Jake and Killian, but then I made a little mistake and locked the brakes a bit, and Jake got to the inside, and yeah, had no place to go because I wanted to see that if Jake's gonna chicken out a bit, but he didn't. And yeah, he got a good win, and congrats to him also. But yeah, it was a pretty messy one, and the track position is really key here. And if you can see that Jake went really fast because he had clean track ahead of him. And I think it was Salas and Mains who were fighting for the P2, P3, and when they got to see each other all the time, then they didn't have the speed, and I caught up the whole pack all the time. But yeah, it's really important here in Daytona.
And now you are sitting P7 in the points, and you have a great chance at getting into the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series. How long has your focus been on that series as opposed to the qualifiers?
Of course, it's been throughout the whole time when I signed for City Sports, but yeah, I didn't even think I'm gonna be in close to or racing for the wins or top threes, but have gotten few good results, few good wins here and there, especially in Hell. That's been my favorite track all the time, and it seems that the World Championship has it 2 times. So I'm really stoked about racing in Hell at the World Championships.
Anyone else you would like to thank before we send you off?
Thanks to all the organization of City Sports and Aleksi Koskinen for being the spotter today, and also my good teammates Killian, Tommy, and Jonne.
Rasmus Tuominen, P5 finisher here in Daytona. Now, we have a special treat for all of you viewers here on Apex Racing TV. We saw him last week, but he is now back with us in the booth. Chris Leone, iRacing Marketing and Communications Manager, one of the directors of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series. Chris, good afternoon.
Hey, how's it going?
We're doing awesome here in the booth. And I want to talk about, of course, the news that dropped just a couple days ago, the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series schedule. How did you get that schedule put together, and what are you looking forward to most about the schedule that you've put together for this season?
Yeah, so I've got to be totally honest with you. We had a little bit of help. A real-world professional driver contributed to the foundation of this schedule, and I'm going to keep a secret who that is, but I'm going to say that they have a hell of a lot more cred in the sport than I do. Somebody who I've worked together with and known for a long time and have a great relationship with. So one of the biggest things that was really important to us on this was we want to have the cleanest possible championship. And I know that when I was in the waiting room, some of the drivers came in and talked about, oh, there was a messy final out there. And I'm kind of just jumping in. I didn't have an opportunity to watch this broadcast in particular. Unfortunately, it's been a crazy day and working on things for this series. So I've just kind of dropped everything to jump in. But, clean racing is super, super important at the World Championship level. It's why it's a big part of the reason why we've gone to all of the long layouts for tracks that have both in this championship to give drivers the ability to spread out a little more. It's part of the reason why, it's really, especially in Daytona. Now, I'm biased. When I worked for GRC, we had the Daytona short layout in the real world, and the long layout was something that iRacing invented. So for me, it's like, oh, you hate to give that little link to my past career, but it's like, look, the Daytona long layout is going to be better than the short one. The Atlanta long layout is going to be better than the short one. The Hell layout, we've got to use the real world Rallycross layout, not the short one. So all long layouts, that was a big part of it. For Hell, we wanted to have that on twice because that is a world championship track that we had to bring into the sim. So that was important. Sonoma being on there twice was, again, that the real world professional driver who was gracious enough to lend his time said, "Oh man, that's my favorite track. That's something that I'd want to race again." And, I kind of got that same feedback from just about everybody who ran with us in the spring during the All-Star series. They all loved Sonoma. So, I know there's some guys who are, they really want to do certain layouts, and you know how it goes. You can't please everybody. Obviously, there are going to be some conflicts for some of the drivers who are running multiple world championships in a couple of weeks that are going to be tough. But what we did, we put out the best possible schedule that we felt that we could to produce the most exciting racing. We were strategic about the couple of off weeks that we factored in there, which are new. We factored one in for October 3rd, and we factored in one for November 28th, which is holiday here in the States for Thanksgiving. But the October 3rd one of the things that, and I can touch on this a little bit, we are bringing All-Stars back to run alongside the World Championship, and just everybody in the real world is running the week of October 3rd. So one of the cool things that we wanted to do is have some of those all-star races again. So we've got the real world pros that are back integrated with this world championship in a larger level. And there's a lot more to come on that front, by the way, that I can't actually share yet. But, not only that, it also gives us an opportunity to look at week one, see how the racing went at Hell, see how the drivers are acting on track, see how some of the different processes that we've got going behind the scenes are working, be able to reassess, and then go into Daytona on October 10th for week 2 and have any of the, just any of the things that we needed to work on sort of buttoned up in time for the second race. So we're not just launching straight into 9 consecutive weeks and having to figure everything out on the fly. We're able to, after week 1, anything that doesn't work out, and I mean, granted, we had a whole spring of doing things exactly the way that we're going to do them here in the fall. So I don't expect too many issues, but so we can go through this series, week 1, make sure that week 1, everything was good, give it a week to breathe, and then we launch into the meat of the season.
And you've also talked about some possible changes to the race formats and the points system. Can you talk about the changes that you're going to be implementing for this next season?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, we're carrying a lot of lessons from what we learned in the spring. What we did in the spring that was different from the World Championship last year was we ran 4 heats instead of 3, and we actually expanded the grid from 26 cars to 28 in the process because we were able to put fewer cars on track in the heats. So what ends up happening is you do have large last chance qualifiers in that case, but you're able to get a couple more drivers in there. You're able to do a little more, to keep everybody sort of separate in those heats and give more drivers the opportunity to race their way in right away cleanly. So we'll continue with that 4 heat build for these races. Plus, it gives everybody a little more racing at home, which is always, it's always nice to have another session to be able to watch. The point system, this is something I'm really excited about. Obviously, anybody who has followed the iRacing Rallycross World Championship, as well as anybody who's followed real world Rallycross, whether you're talking World RX, GRC, ARX, it doesn't matter, knows that our system was very, very different. It was actually a lot closer to a real world sprint car championship kind of point system. And so we've changed that and we have fixed that to be a lot closer to what you see in the real world in terms of the figures. It's still 6 points for the top driver in qualifying. It's still 8 points for the top driver in the heats, but the top driver in the final is going to receive 15 points and will sort of go down from there. So your overall total over the course of the race weekend, even though it's not built like, say, a World Rallycross race weekend, it's going to be a much closer system in terms of how you score those points compared to what you see in the real world. The biggest difference is in World RX, for example, after the 4 qualifying rounds, that's where you earn the meat of your points. You earn up to 16. Then you can earn up to another 6 in the semifinal, and then up to another 8 in the final. So we've got very similar numbers. You're just earning them in a different order. But it should make the championship much closer. And more importantly, it shouldn't be such a death blow to anybody in the championship if you miss a final. Because theoretically speaking, if you qualify first, but then, a little argy-bargy happens in the heat and you finish third in the heat, and then you go to the LCQ and you don't make it, then, well, that's still a 12-point day. A 12-point day a year ago would have killed your championship hopes. A 12-point day now, when the max is 29, you're still in the fight. You have a few races like that, and yeah, that's not going to be what you want, but theoretically speaking, the guy who makes it to the final and wins the final could only score 22 points because he could get nothing in qualifying, finish second in the heat and get 7, and then win the final for 15, and that's 22. A 10-point margin. Now, you can make that up in a race. You can make that up in 2 races. That's something where you're not going to be praying that somebody in front of you makes a mistake. Control of your own championship destiny is still in your own hands a little more with a tighter point system like this. So especially with how evenly matched I think the field is going to be, I think that's going to be really, really exciting to watch.
Chris, it's Peter here in the booth. Thanks so much for joining us and telling us all about the exciting plans for the IRX series. But it's been a day of big news, hasn't it? I got the shock this afternoon here in Scotland that we've got a little red Corvette, or a little yellow Corvette, to be absolutely accurate, coming to join us.
Oh, yeah. And that was, I got to say, one of the coolest things about being part of the marketing team, and sorry to everybody who's listening, is we're really good at keeping secrets. This has been something that obviously we've been working on for a while, because something like this doesn't just drop out of thin air. The fact that it's going to make the build. Our team has been working so diligently on this. Everybody has been super excited about it. Everybody, Pratt and Miller, GM, Jordan Taylor, everybody who was involved with making that announcement was super helpful. It's been so exciting to be involved, with that, and all the different content that we've released this year, whether it's cars, tracks. I mean, there's certainly other stuff coming, in this build. Some of it's been announced, like Nashville and Weed Sport for those who like going in circles a little more. Certainly the Dallara P2 for, the sports car folks who prefer the prototypes over the GTs. And I mean, the last build, I think we had 6 cars and a track, and North Wilkesboro got deployed in the middle of the year. And it's been so exciting. But certainly being able to keep the Corvette news under wraps as long as we did, it was, for us, it was like we were Santa Claus and we were just waiting for Christmas. Well, it's Christmas.
Absolutely. I always say that Le Mans week is much more important than Christmas week for for a week. And I have to say, probably 1 in every 3 broadcasts I probably mention about having the new Corvette. And I'm delighted that it's come to the service. Well done to you all there in the iRacing office. Now, one last question for you, and it's one that as well, I got pretty excited by the Corvette, but our local track here in Scotland, Knockhill, is that something we might see in the iRacing service sometime in future?
Believe that I've heard that. I am admittedly, I'm not in charge of the content. Some things actually get dropped on me not too long before they get dropped on you guys. I will say that committing to, getting a lot more European tracks, it's definitely been a priority for us. Obviously this year has been difficult on the travel side. We haven't really been able to send people out to do scans on different vehicles. I think we've been very limited in that, but certainly the European tracks in every aspect have been a priority for me. For Rallycross, we need more tracks on the opposite side of the Atlantic from us to sort of balance out what the driver pool is, right? And Knock Hill is such a cool track. It's, unfortunately, I haven't had the opportunity to ever visit it personally, but it's a bucket list course for me to be able to get there someday. And, it's, man, I've got such a wish list, I got to tell you, but it's for me, especially as somebody who comes from real world rallycross, especially as somebody who comes from, these just sort of a different discipline and a different background maybe than everybody else in the iRacing office, where I've worked in off-road, whether it's RX or in the desert or in short course a little bit. Tracks for me, those are my holy grails, right? It's not, everybody, our road racing community got jazzed about Hockenheim, and that's awesome. Whenever, when Hockenheim drops, it's always exciting to add a track of that caliber. But for me, it's, people I'm sure have seen Greg Hill and Steve Myers tweeting about Crandon. And like Crandon for me is just going to be, that's going to be the first thing that I load into, because I love turning left and right on the dirt, and I love launching things in the air, and I love that sort of wheel to wheel stuff. I love a racing series where finishing the race with your body panels still on the vehicle is totally optional. I think that's the most fun racing out there. So yeah, I mean, it's a facility like Knock Hill is such an awesome facility that produces such great racing. So I'm very excited for what the future holds, and I'm certainly excited for in the future us being able to add some more rallycross layouts, and certainly some more rallycross layouts that are on the opposite side of the Atlantic than the handful of real world ones from GRC that we've got in, or even the handful that our team have designed that have actually proven really popular with real world drivers. But, we've got such a global series and a global sport, that we're dealing with. We've got so many American drivers, but we've got a lot of drivers from Finland. We've got some French drivers. We've even got some folks who run down under. We have one of the more global championships, and long-term, our world championship schedule is going to need to reflect that. So, I sorry to give you another one of those sort of non-committal answers, but yeah, it's that's definitely the vision long-term, is to have more, certainly more tracks and the UK being the birthplace of rallycross. It's certainly something that's important to me, especially as somebody who has always wanted to visit and had been really excited to in 2018 when GRC announced that its finale was going to be at Lyddon. But then, unfortunately, our debts caught up to us and the company went under. So I've not yet visited Lyddon either.
One final question before we let you go. A quick one. Who are you watching for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series come September 26th when the championship gets started?
Whew, that is a good question. I mean, to me, I think the most interesting thing is going to be the battle between Sammy Matty Trogan and Mitchell DeYoung, just because not only obviously were they 1 and 2 last year, but Mitchell spotted Sammy Matty a couple of races. But when we had the Subaru IRX All-Star Invitational presented by Yokohama, say that 5 times fast, in the spring, they were the guys who were trading wins and podiums every single step along the way. As a matter of fact, if not for the call that was very studiously reviewed in Sonoma, where we ended up not penalizing Mitchell for the contact with Craig Breen after a review, which, by the way, I was involved in that review. We watched the incident 100 times. It was a real world capable review. It was exactly what I've seen in real world rallycross booths, just watching it over and over and over again to get that call right. If we had penalized Mitchell, Sammy Matty would have actually made it an even 3-win to 3-win split based on the timing. So I think the battle between those two guys is going to be interesting. We've got a couple of really talented drivers, guys like Johan Harth, Bobby Zelensky, Garrett Lowe, guys who run multiple world championships that are very, very good in this, but are going to be finishing up in the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup and the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series at the same time. So to me, what's going to be interesting is, will those guys be as fast as they were last year, knowing that they've got these other series on the line as well? Or is that something where The guys who are fully focused on this are going to have the advantage. I believe I said it last week, and I am going to say it again. The caliber of talent that's coming up through this qualifying series, somebody from this series is going to be on the overall podium at the end of the season. I don't know who it's going to be. But I am 100% certain somebody from this series is going to be on the overall podium at the end of the season. And I am really excited for that. Anytime you get a strong rookie, especially a rookie that can win races, for me as a promoter, both from the real world and in the virtual world here at iRacing, that's something you can build upon from a marketing standpoint. So I'm excited to see who that person is, but you guys can give me all the grief you want after the finale at Sonoma, December 5th, if I'm wrong.
Thank you very much to Chris Leone, iRacing Marketing and Communications Manager and one of the directors for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series. And we thank you all for tuning in all season long here on Apex Racing TV for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Qualifiers. Make sure that you tune in to iRacing's YouTube channel September 26th for the opening round of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series. For Mark Trancer, Peter McKay, and Dane Baird, who joined us earlier on in this season, and also all the other commentators that joined us this season. I am Joshua Lee, and we thank you for tuning in, and we're saying goodbye from Daytona.